Praise God. How was that? It was good, yeah? It was really good. Good insight. I love what these two have shared and the good questions I believe they have put before us is important. So the reason why I want to share this like this because I want to come from a heart of a father to you and also teach it, but talk it out to you. Because if I preach it out to you, I'll be too fast and I will not share the point that I really want you to capture. And then also, I will change the dynamics if things happen, even though we're recording. So we might change the dynamics. Okay. So really today, I want to talk to you about the power of relationships. Now, when we talk about relationships, we're not just talking about marriage. Relationship starts from friends, then it builds on until it becomes a family. So it begins there. Even when we talk about relationship with parents, that's also a relationship. And so it's important to know when we talk about the power of relationship, it's not limited to marriage. Because when you limit it to marriage, you're not going to get the best of relationship. And relationship is not about marriage. Relationship is actually, it's about your destiny. It's about your future. It's about your health. It's about everything that encompasses you, that makes up you. So when we talk about relationship, it means that every relationship is so important to your life. Your brother to sister relationship is important. Your father and mother relationship is important. Your colleagues' relationships are important. So that means every relationship is important. So you cannot neglect one part of your element of relationship. Because if you do that, you don't benefit from it. So I want to really tell you that it's like that. That's what relationship is all about. So as long as you're living on earth, you have to make best decisions that enhances your life. In other words, if you want to enhance your health, you need a good relationship. If you want to enhance your future, you need a good relationship. If you want to enhance your destiny, you need a good relationship. So in other words, everything to do about you requires relationship. And without the relationship you built on, you will not benefit from it. So the earlier you discover and capitalize on this relationship connections that you have, the sooner you'll be on the right path in life. Let me say that again. The earlier you discover and capitalize on those relationships, the quicker or the sooner your success in life will be. But if you don't capitalize on the relationship, you will not go anywhere. So you have to understand relationship is important. So who you sit next to is important. And where you sleep every night is important. And where you work is important. They are all relationships that you have to maximize. So don't limit it to only boyfriend and girlfriend or husband and wife. It's not about that. So the power of relationship, just want to build a good introduction to you. The power of relationship. To succeed in anything you are trying to do, or you need to build strong relationship. With those you depend on to accomplish your vision and your goal. In other words, relationship has the power to influence you and to override and to overcome and to put you in places where your well-being, where your success, where your personal growth and impacting that you have in this world can be physically seen. So in other words, relationship can impact your health. Relationship can impact your physical and mental health. Your relationship can also enhance your career. So all of them are important. But however, for that to happen, it begins with a decision. You have to decide that I need to have right relationship in my life. And if you don't decide, guess what? The world will decide for you. Guess what? The devil will decide for you. Guess what? Circumstance will decide for you. Guess what? Environment will decide for you. So in other words, relationship is at your decision, not at anybody's decision. But if you do not do it, the thing that you're around, the people that you're around will make the decision for you. So rather, you have to decide to make the right choices for the right relationship that you want. I think the Bible talks about it. Life and death is in the power of our tongue. Right? But also it says, Jesus said, today, choose life. Or God said it in Deuteronomy. So in other words, you get to choose, but cannot give you an advice. God already chose the decision for you to choose life. But to choose life is to choose the right decisions with the right relationships. Because the first relationship you have to decide is to choose God. Then from there, every other relationship is important. Your relationship with your parents begin to make meaning. Your relationship with your sibling begin to make meaning. So you see, it begins a relationship, number one, with what? With God. Then it goes into your family. Then from your family, it gets into your friends. Then from your friends, it gets into your world where you work. And where your church is as well. They're all relationships. So all of us need to have relationship. But I believe, from my understanding, there is 3 powerful relationships that you have to build on. 3. You have to build this through relationship. Number 1, Alwell already said it. You have to choose good friends. You have to decide. Nobody will decide for you. You can't decide your parents. They're given. You can't decide your mom and dad. They're given. No matter how good, no matter how bad your parents are, they are a gift from God. They are biological relationships that you cannot escape from. So in other words, you get to decide how you now benefit from that biological relationship. But friends, you have the decision. So you have the decision to choose what kind of friends I want. And so I'll quickly touch on what Alwell said, if you want to know about the importance of friends, right? So number 1, you have to choose good friends that are heading towards your direction in life. Because if you don't choose the friends that are heading towards your direction in life, they will never pull you towards that direction. They'll actually pull you opposite. So you have to decide. It's your decision. 2, in friends, you have to choose friends who will build or challenge you in where you're going. You have to decide the friends I want that will build or challenge me. If a friend is not challenging you, in other words, is not giving you this holy hunger, this drive, this passion to do more, to succeed more, then don't choose that friends in your life. You need a friend that when you're around and you feel uncomfortable, that you just want to be like them, or they want to make you, push you, and direct you to be in the right path. So you need that kind of friends. Don't get friends that are mediocre. Don't get friends that don't have it not all together. Don't have to have it all together, okay? You just need a friend that may be having it in their mentality more than having it in the material things. If they can have the mentality, eventually one day they will become. So rather be with a friend who does not have, rather have the mentality. And that will challenge you to where you need to go. So you need to remember this, friends. Also in friends, you have to choose friends who have what you need. Oh, yes. You need to choose friends what you need, they have it. There are people you know, they have what you need, and you're jealous of them. Why don't you, instead of being jealous, get them to become your friends so they can direct you there? Because many of us are jealous of people, and we don't want to build friends with them. But rather, if I want what they want, I'd rather be friends with them, because then they can challenge me and direct me in the right direction. You see? So it's important to be intentional in what kind of friends you want to have. Because if not, they will come and stick by you, and it will be harder to remove them. Or very hard to remove friends when you're too close to them. So better choose them wisely. So think about what Alwell has said. But today I want to focus a lot in the other 2. That is, I think, important in our generation. The second relation you need to build on is dating wisely. Come on, say dating wisely. Okay, dating wisely. And you will understand the third I will say to you is called dating purposely. So there's one, dating wisely. The second, which I will talk about after this, is dating with purpose. Let's talk about dating wisely. Okay, what does that look like, dating wisely? So I'm coming from you to you, number one, from being a Bible preacher. I'm coming to you from reading scriptures a lot, learning. But I'm also coming to you from experience. I've been in church for over 10 years. So we've gone to 15 years actually now. Okay? I've been in my whole life, but I gave my life to Christ in 2010. And so what was that, 15 years, right? And in that 15 years, I've mentored, I've counseled, I have fathered, and I've seen relationship from my own life and from the people around me. So all I'm telling you are backed up by scriptures, and all I'm telling you are backed up from evidence. Okay? Backed up from scriptures and backed up from evidence. Because I'm not preaching, so I'm not going to open a lot of scriptures. I just want to talk to you. All right? So you have to understand this. So why we have to date wisely? Because intrinsically, every one of us want to be in relationship with somebody. Because intrinsically, God wants us to be married eventually. But for us to get married, we need to get into relationship that will lead us into marriages. And every one of us, I remember, this is sad, but in 2008, my neighbor, an Australian neighbor, Rika knows this story. My neighbor, they don't go to church and all of that stuff, but there's this young girl, she's only like about 8 years old, and this another neighbor on the other side is a 6-year-old boy. Guess what? These two are dating. 6 and 8 years old are dating. And then I'll find them in corners kissing each other. Right? At that. And eventually one day I saw them, you know what I mean now. They're about to do the monkey business. So tell me, are we not intrinsically given to want to be in a relationship? We are. We all want to be. I remember a story of a pastor. He said, that was when I went to a conference, I think we went to. A pastor said his daughter came to him and said, you know, I like this in Perth, when I was in Perth. He said, Daddy, I want to tell you something. And she's only 6 years old. He said, Daddy, I want to tell you something. I like you. What? What? The dad said, what? You like what? The dad started having a heart attack. Automatically. And so he said he had to drop his gardening because he was gardening. He said he knew where she's coming from. She's going to say, I like a guy, a young boy. So he was a typical African and said, don't even start this conversation. All right? He said, but then he composed himself and said, you know what? Go and think about this and come later and talk to me again on what you want to tell me, what you like. Because he knows where she's going. And so he thought about it and asked God, you know, what do I do? And his heart is racing. God, my daughter is about to tell me he likes a boy. And so he decided that the best thing to do is just let her go for a break. And then he calmed himself. Actually, he needed the break, not the daughter. He needed the break because he's having a heart attack already. And so after a couple of hours, he thought about it. He said, you know what? If I tell my daughter not to talk to me about boys, guess what? I break the relationship between me and her. So what I needed to do is to go and calm down myself and say the right thing to my daughter. So after he calmed down and spoke to his daughter, he said, so what were you going to tell me again? He said, somehow I like, in our school, I like this boy. He said, oh, okay. What do you like about him? Now, can you see facts already? I'm telling you facts. That intrinsically, every one of us, we want to be in relationship. But is it the right time to be in relationship for such an age? I remember when I was young, we used to play this father and daddy game. Have you guys, you know that father and daddy game? Mother and father game. And unfortunately, I used to pretend to be the dad, and obviously the other one is the wife or the mother. But obviously, because I like them. I actually really liked them, and I was really young, and around 8, 10-ish, I started liking girls a lot at that age stage. So intrinsically, every one of us will start liking people from the beginning stage of 8, 7, like that. So every one of us want to be in relationship. But now, before you become born again, you probably by the age of 12 or 13, we started getting into relationship. Come on, say yes if you have done that before. Yes, see, thank you. From the age of 12, 13, people start getting in relationship. Don't be ashamed. Yeah. Yeah. So people like us, we're naughty. At that age, we want to already get into relationship. You know why? Because it's just wired in every one of us to be in relationship. Some people just discovered it earlier than others. And other people come from a good environment, good families. Other people come from good knowledges. And other people are afraid to even step in that direction. So you see, people's experiences are different. But we do want to. But is it the right time? Obviously not. It's not the right time, but we still get into that. Right? So what I'm saying is that now the moment you become a Christian, your definition of relationship changes. Your definition of relationship changes. I know a pastor said Christians shouldn't be dating. I disagree. I read my Bible and I found Boaz. I found Mary. They were all engaged. I found Boaz before we even got engaged. Boaz and Ruth. Boaz and Ruth. All of these things. I found that actually, scripturally, it's okay for every believer to date. So, I had problem with a lot of pastors. But I will teach you. A lot of pastors, I disagree with them. And it's because it's something that's already embedded in every one of us to be in relationship. And it's also in the scripture that we can be in relationship. But there is a way to relationship. And so, I want to talk to you about the second way. Because I don't want to stop you from dating. I want you to date. But I want you to date wisely. Come on, say wisely. So you have to date wisely. And in wise dating, you can start as young as you want to if you want to. But you have to be wise. Now, wise is not age. Wise is mindset. Wise is not age. It's your maturity and your mindset. So if you are wise, it's because of not age, but because of your mindset. And so, in dating wisely, which is what I want you to do, which is what I also did, you date wisely. So there are 5 things you have to decide when you find a girl you like or a boy you like. You got to realize it's okay to like them. But ask yourself these questions. And then begin this dating, but wisely. There's a difference. It's okay to dating, but not wisely is a problem. But dating wisely is not a problem. But dating without being wise is a problem. So, in dating wisely, first, from Bible perspective and principle, number 1, you have to choose to date a believer. If you're going to date wisely, choose a believer. But if you don't choose a believer, like Alois said, how can what? Darkness and light work together? In other words, there is what? Already a problem. They're from different realms, different offices, so they cannot function properly. There's a yoking there. The devil yoking and God yoking, there is a friction. So number 1, in dating wisely, choose a Christian brother or sister. Don't choose anybody because you like them. And that's the fault of many people dating. They start straight away just, I like the person. Don't just like them. Are they born again? Because remember, you're not God. And you can't make them born again. So if you can't make anybody born again, you have to choose the one that God has made born again. Come on. You hearing me? You have to choose the one that God makes born again, because you cannot make them born again. Nobody can make anybody born again. It's only God. So it begins with first in dating wisely. Number 2, in dating wisely, you have to build friendship beyond romance. When you choose somebody, focus on friendship. Say, how do we become friends? If you can see it, the story of Alouette already. And my story and my wife's story, I say for 1 good year, we're friends. Then after these friends, we can take it to the next level. So in other words, in dating wisely, you are focusing on friendship. Because if you can't be friends with one another, you can't take it to the next step. Because the deeper you go in relationships, the more is required of you to become friends. And if you start earlier, the more you are wise in that relationship. Does that make sense? Because if you're not friends, you can't hang out with them. If you're not friends, you can't go take them to the movies. You can't do any of that. If you're not friends, you guys can't have good times together. Can't take, the hobbies that you guys like. You guys can't have it together. The time will be so boring. And guess what? You'll be substituting it, doing things that are bad. Do you get it? You start doing things that are bad because there is no friendship. Nothing that keeps you guys distracted from the things that is not good. And then also, the next, this is the key. Now listen to this one. While you're dating, you are focusing on finding common values and interests within them. So you're looking for, do they have my values? Your job is to be with them and search the values and the interests they have. Because the values will show to you if they are going to be in the same boat as you. They're going to be in the same pathway as you. And if this is going to be a worth investment for me with this person. So you have to decide, look at their values. Do they go to church? Did they read their Bible? Did they study? What did they like? What's their family? What is their values? You're looking for values. You're not developing a value in them. You are going, what are their values? In other words, you're looking for, how did their parents bring them? What church did they go and what do they learn? What are they learning in that church? What are they doing in their life? You're looking for values in them. Because you have to realize this stage of dating wisely, you have a choice to stay or to run away. Because this is the making of decisions. You have to decide, oh, this person is not a Christian, so I got to leave this relationship. This person does not have my values, I got to leave this relationship. That's why it's called dating what? Wisely. You are not in any contract to them. You're not in any obligation to them. Your job is to be with them, but looking for the thing that leads you to where you want to be in the future. And if you can't see it, you say, thank you for the good time. Thank you, but I don't see this is going to work out. So you're looking for the values. What do they love about God? What do they love about family? What do they love about career? What are their values? What are they interested about? Because these are the things that will help you to go, I want to be with that person. So you have to look at that. For me, when I looked at my wife, I looked at her, oh, she loved prayer. Then I knew this one, I need someone later who will be praying for me. That attracted me, the prayer life. You know what attracted me is the meekness, to be quiet, not talk too much. I wanted people who just like that. So that got my attention. What else got my attention? What else got my attention was that she was just always about her own self. Just in her own world. Takes her time sleeping, takes her time doing things, just in her own world. And I said, I think I like that because I like to be by myself. And I like people like that. So that, you can do you, I can do me without no problem. But those are like some little things. Just indication. So little things, you got to think about what are the values. She was going to 2 churches. I said, wow, 2 churches? I was already doing 3 churches, so don't worry, I was already leading. Right? So you got to realize what are their values. And in their activities, there is the value. In what they do every day, there is the value. In how they talk, there is the value. So don't just look at their beauty and focus on their beauty, because that's deception. That's deceiving. Look at their actions. Look at what are they doing? What are they doing? Imagine if he doesn't like going to work, doesn't like studying. That's a big question already. Start thinking about those things, you know. Because why would you want to take this person to your parent next in the purposeful dating? You see, there's a stage to it. You got to start thinking. And if they just love sleeping too much, this one will not bring food on the table. So why this one? Because you got to start thinking wisely, intentionally. You know, if you're not thinking about these things, for me, I look into the future. So when you are dating somebody, look into the future. How would they fit in your future? Because you have a future. You have a calling. You have a purpose. But they can only fit there when you can analyze. Analyze. You have to analyze. And then next, in dating wisely, you have to reveal your future goals and aspiration to them. Because if you tell them and they don't like it, then you know that's a sign. You need to start telling you know, I'm going to be a pastor. I'm going to be this. This is what I'm going to be. This is what I want to do. Tell your future aspiration. Talk about your future more to it so that they can see a picture with you or not. Paint to them what kind of person you are. Paint to them your future. Spend time painting to them. I'm going to be in this house. I'm going to work like this. I'm going to be in this kind of job. This is my goal. Tell them your aspirations and your future goals. Because you begin to see, do you fit in there? You got to think about these things in dating wisely. If someone doesn't talk to you about their future, it's a question mark. Because you don't know where they're taking you one day if they decide to. And you do not know what they will turn out to be the next day. So better for me to have a glimpse of what you're doing. Yeah, that's it, some sort of direction. So give me something to hook me myself in you. Give me something. Talk about your future. Because you see your future is attracted to how you talk about it. And the people who want to join you is because they see themselves in that future. They see themselves in that boat. You got to talk about it. Tell them, hey, I want to be this. So you know. I start telling my wife, I'm going to be a full-time pastor. This is what I want to do. I want to be a pastor. I'm going to lead a church. I'm going to lead a ministry. This is what I'm going to be. I see myself. I don't know when I will start that. I don't know when that's going to be. But this is how I see. I see myself, you know, my family. I'm a family man. I see myself bringing peace in my family. And I want to keep the peace in my family. I'm that kind of man. I want to bring peace. So she's looking at that going, okay, do I fit in there? They got to see that. And then the last in there, dating wisely. Analyze and observe characteristics and personalities. You have to analyze what kind of character do they have and what kind of personality do they have. Because these things you can't teach them. You can't teach them. So don't expect to bring them in your life and begin to alter their character and personality. Their father have already done that. Their mother has already done that. Society has already done that. So you cannot change that. You just got to now deal with it. But you got to realize what kind of character you're looking for by analyzing. So date with a scientific mindset, a research mindset. Look at their life. Analyze what kind of character they have. Intentionally. Because some people put a persona. But it's only when you spend some time with them, you realize the kind of character they have. So you have to analyze people's characters and personalities. They're hidden, but they're seen from afar. Because when they're around you, they don't reveal it. They don't. When you're dating somebody, you don't. You need to watch from afar. Watch from afar. What do they do? You got to intentionally do that. Now, once you have done all of these things, okay, you have a decision. Do I want to continue or do I don't want to continue? I thank God for when I present this kind of thing to 2 or 3 girls in my life, they decided, no, this is not for me. I said, great. You came freely, you will go. Oh, yeah. Freely you came and freely you will go. So don't hold nobody because you're dating wisely. Once you've decided that dating wisely, then you can move to the next stage of purpose. You can now date with purpose. But you have to do that first, the wisely dating. Now let's move on to the dating with purpose. Because now you have tick something. Now, the wisely, it's not saying that they have to have 100% in everything. They got to have some sort of. They got to have it at least to some degree, to some capacity, to some percentage that you cannot contend. Because at the moment, you're also developing, they're also developing. But you got to give them grace. But you got to still see that. If there's none of that, run away. Come and say run away. Oh, you really got to run away. Oh, yeah, take off. Girls, please take off. Boys, please take off. Don't hold on to anybody when you're wisely dating. Because if not, you're going to get stuck for life with that person, and good luck. Oh, yes, I'm telling you, there are people living in marriages miserable. They said, I shouldn't have dated her. There are people, look at some of your parents. I'm being honest with you. So you have to realize, some people I've been doing counseling for a while. There's some people are hanging in there because of kids. Some people are hanging there because they said, I married you. That's it. But at home, it's like hell. At home, it's like two isolated prison cells in a house. Is that what you want? So date wisely. Now let's go to the purpose. Date with purpose. What does it look like to date with purpose? Okay? To date with purpose, now you are building on your wise decisions now. Okay? Number one, now in dating with purpose, here is what I'm telling you. In dating with purpose, you number one got to focus on values. Now this is the place where the values are brought out. You are asking and you are focusing on what values do they have. When we talk about values, we're talking about our values comes from the Bible. Our values are the principles of God's word. That every one of us, the first value in our Christian work is that you will not sleep with a person until you're married to them. So you now go, okay, now that we are dating, now we're taking it to the next stage, but we're dating with purpose. And I need you, and I want to see the values of God's word in your life. Where do you center God? Intentionally, both of you got to look for each other's the values. So there's a purpose now. I'm dating you, but I'm looking at the purpose. Where's God at this? So if they start telling you, you know, I think we can do it once in a while. I think, you know, God will forgive us. I think, how would I know you're good if I don't try? Now, you're going, okay, the values are not there. Because if you uphold the value, you said, God says, you know, marriage, the bed is undefiled until marriage. So if you're pushing me this and you're saying maybe, then you know their value is not solid. So you got to decide that, okay, now that I know, we need to work on this. And if they're not willing to work on this, there's no compromise. You either go or you either stay. Or God stays. Sorry, my apologies. You either go or God stays. In other words, I'd rather be with God than with you. You get me? You got to focus on the values. Put the values of God. Because if you put the values of God first, you know what that says? You're prioritizing God. And the more you prioritize God, God looks after you. And God works on you. And God gives you the things that you're looking for. But the moment you're not focusing on the values, that relationship, when it gets through the storm, God is not going to be there. When things you need, God is not going to be there. He said, because you neglected the values. And when the storms of life hit you, guess what? There is no solid foundation, Jesus the rock being the rock there for you. So because values are neglected, you need to know. Focus on values. 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 Like me and God, for me, I want to serve God. What about you? Do you want to serve God? If they say, no, I don't serve God. Oh, yeah. You got to ask that. Because every believer meant to serve God. Every believer. Serving God. Number 2, dating with purpose is to involve prayer in your dating. Because how you're going to know the values are strong is, can you guys pray together? Or if they say, no, I don't want to pray. No, man, you pray. You lead the prayer today. No, you just do that. I don't know how to pray. Involve prayer. Get them to pray. Work on prayer. In other words, both of you's got to pray. That doesn't mean you have to pray together all the time. But you got to see that every one of us prioritize prayers personally. Develop prayer. So I'm not going to talk much about prayer. But you need to prioritize prayer. And in dating with purpose, number 3, you got to communicate clearly your goals. Clearly your goals. This is where you as a man, especially a man, got to tell me where you're taking me with this relationship. So ladies are looking for a man who's taking them somewhere. So you got to communicate your goals. Don't date with me and we're dating for 7-10 years until where is this going to go? There has to be clear communications of your future goals. Oh yeah, in 5 years we'll get married. In 3 years we'll get married. This is what we're here for now. You got to give me clear goal because I'm not willing to stay with someone who does not know where they're going. So in other words, you got to communicate your goals together. All right, in the next 2 years, we're focusing on university. Let's focus on university. But after the university, next thing, maybe let's look at saving money for marriage. You know, maybe after that, you know what, let's introduce each other to our parents. You know, see, don't just introduce anybody to your parents at any given time. Because you are putting yourself in problems. Present someone to your parents that you are very sure with and you want to. And then when they give you solid answers, you know how to stand. When they tell you, nah, this one is not for you, then you know how to respond to it. So make sure, clear purpose, clear direction. Tell them, hey, we're dating, but here's the plan. 1 year, this is what we're doing. Next year, this is what we're doing. And then every one of us are clear. There's a purpose in our dating. So if you're dating somebody and they're not wanting to talk about the future, there's no plans, hey, this person will be the same husband you marry, will not take you anywhere in your marriage later. Oh, yeah. And then you'll be crying, oh, man, I wish you were that man. I wish you were like that man. I wish I was with that boyfriend before. I remember counseling somebody, you know, they were saying, you know, they when they were dating, they neglected one element. They were looking for a man who was only good at vision. But they were forgetting how to relate, the aspect of relating with one another. Now they're together, they can't. Because, you see, when you focus, don't focus on one area. Every area is important. Focus on vision, yes. Focus on romance, yes. Focus on all other elements that's required. Don't just focus on one area. Relationship is intentional. It's a hard work, but it's intentional. All right. The next point in dating with purpose. Now there's clear vision and goal. Now you can set boundaries. You know, you can't set boundaries if there's no goal. Boundaries are only set where there is a goal. So many people don't set boundaries because they don't have a clear goal. You see, I observed a lot of Christians, they talk about values, but they never sit down and actually set the boundaries. So in other words, we got a put. Let's talk about this. Number one boundary is setting boundaries. Number one is sex. Let's talk about sex. So what's your experience like? What was your past like? But now that we're here, how do we now do this together in order for us to get into marriage and begin to engage in this? What is the first setting here? Now we talk about it. You set boundary. Okay, this one says, before, this one says I'm a virgin. This one says I'm not a virgin. Okay, no problem. Now, how do I help you who is not a virgin? How do I help you that you don't cause me to take my virginity out? So that until we get married, there has to be discussion now. Put it on the table. And then from there, you set clear goal. You said, okay, you know what? Like Ben said, at this time is a naughty time because this activates something in me. So let's put this like this. So you got to put, we can't stay in the dark. We can't book hotels together. Yes, you clearly communicate the boundaries. Boundary that is not communicated can be broken. Any boundary boundary setting that is not communicated will be broken. Will be broken. So if you guys are breaking boundaries, it's because nobody has said it and clearly communicated it. And there is no two-party agreement. Only one-party agreement. And in setting boundaries, one has to be louder than the other. Because there's always going to be one weaker than the other. And so, what's more important is to listen to the one that sets the boundary high. Not the one that is struggling. The one that is struggling does not set the boundary. The one that is struggling is guided in the boundary. You understand me? You guide them. This is how it works. You guide them. So you got to put it like this, set healthy boundaries. It has to be healthy boundaries. You got to set healthy boundaries. For me, one of my boundaries is if I'm going to date you, I'm not dating you in the same state. That was my boundary. Because the farther you are, the better it is. Oh, yeah. Now, don't follow my path. This is a tough path. You have to be strong in God to do this path. And then also, the reason why is that because when you're far, you miss each other for so long. When you're close, it's like a volcano erupting. You say, I miss you so much. So let's be free now. The temptation is deeper. But you have to be strong. You have to set the boundaries. All right, we'll move on to boundaries. These things I teach intentionally like this. Number 5 or whatever in that point is prioritizing listening to God's guidance for the relationship. Because you're not dating with purpose. What is God saying for this relationship? Because if God is not saying something, because we are all led by the Spirit. The Bible says, if you live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. And now that we are all spiritual beings, but what is God saying in the season that we're in? That means we got to be hearing the voice of God in our relationship. So you ask the partner, what is God saying? Because what you're doing there, you're helping them to hear the voice of God with you. What is God saying? Because when you can hear God, then you guys will always uphold God's voice and direction in the season. So you got to prioritize the voice of God. Listening, what is God saying for us now? You got to realize these things. What is God saying? Listening. And then from there, the next one, this is the one many Christians don't do. And this is my fatherly advice, and it's a Bible-based principle. You got to involve accountability partners. You have to involve accountability partners. Now, who are these accountability partners? Mentors. Who are these? Spiritual leaders or your pastor. If you do not have somebody that you're accountable to for both of you, then when somebody falls short, then you guys can't help each other. You need someone who can speak on your behalf for you. You need someone who can see above and beyond for you. So you need someone who can see what you don't see in the other partner. You need somebody who can hear the voice of God for you guys. You need someone who can correct you. You need someone who can talk about the hard stuff when you guys can't talk about the hard stuff. So you need accountability person in your life. I'll give you my example. Me and my wife, automatically, I went to her pastor and I told her pastor, hey, I'm dating your daughter. Is there something that I just want to let you know? I'm dating your daughter and I'll be coming from Brisbane time to time here. Is there something you want me to know or to do? I want you to tell me, advise us on what direction we need to go in this relationship, because we want this relationship to last. So I spoke to our pastor. Then I brought her here and I said, okay, come talk to my pastor too. So I introduced her to my pastor. I said, Pastor, here's the girlfriend that I'm dating, and I'm hoping that we'll get into marriage. But I need your advice. I need your direction. I need your prayers. And anytime I'm doing something wrong, I need you to know, because I need a covering. I need a spiritual covering. So I told him. And then on top of it, my mentor, I said, now let me introduce you to my mentor. Yes, I have a pastor, but I also have spiritual father and mother. So I introduced them. I introduced her to my spiritual mom and dad. I said, hey, here's my spiritual mom and dad. Whatever they tell me, I do. So in other words, the voice in my relationship, if there's certain things that I can't do, is because they're telling me. So I have to listen to them. So I called my mother in Canada and I introduced her. Then this conversation, we started, so she knows. Then I told her whatever she says, goes. So my spiritual mom spoke these things too. And then I went to another pastor. I had 4 pastors involved in my relationship. 4 of them. So if you don't have any accountability partners, you're not going to be guided, and there's no spiritual protection over you. Because we're talking about Christians here. We're talking about what honors God in relationship. Because they can correct you. Like in our church here, I make sure every leader of ours here, when they get into a relationship, they need to come talk to me about it. And then I need to be part of that relationship. Because I need to advise them if that's the right thing to do or not. That's because they're under me here. And so if something happened out there, it's going to be my problem. They don't listen to me. So in other words, everyone here, you should involve your spiritual leader in your relationship. Once you are in the purpose one, not in the wise. In the wise, that's you, exercising you. You take my advice in my preaching, in my teaching, in my one-on-one that you want to take from me or the people. But when it comes to purpose now, that's now a strict one. So this is the strict one. Because if you do something, I can cover you. And God can help you. You understand what I'm saying? This is a very important purpose-driven relationships. So, the last point I want to teach on this one I only teach for people who want to get married. So everyone, like Ben and everybody who went through, Hinadi and Patrick, I have a course with them. I do a course. And that course is to prepare you for marriage. And I focus on this point, which is what I want to touch to you right now. In the next 5 minutes, then I close it. It's something called what is required before marriage. I want you to open the book of Ephesians chapter 5, verse 29. I want to touch on it quickly because this is the most important thing you need to know. And this is what I will enhance to you, that every one of us should be doing this now. Before we are in dating wisely or dating with purpose, we need to be involved in this. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 29. Now, pick those 2 things. Because if you don't focus yourself in these 2 things, don't get into any relationship. Because you're going to be a danger to that relationship and to yourself. You found it? Okay, now let's read it together. Ready? For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. What are the two things that it stands out there? Come on, say it louder. And cherishes. So if you are going to be in any relationship, you should focus on these two things. You cannot love another if you can't cherish yourself. You can't be in a healthy relationship if you don't fix yourself. So in other words, relationship begins with you first. You have to have healthy relationship with you. If you can't have a healthy relationship with you, don't be in any relationship with nobody. If you can't be alone by yourself, don't be in any relationship with anybody. If you cannot stop yourself from certain things, don't be in a relationship with anybody. If you cannot speak good to yourself, don't go be in any relationship because you want to speak bad to somebody. So the two important words in any relationship is the ability to nourish and to cherish. Dr. Miles called it singleness. You have to enjoy your singleness. Because if you can't enjoy your singleness, you cannot enjoy your marriage. Enjoy being by yourself. Enjoy your company. Enjoying discovering yourself. Now, these two things I want you to highlight. I will touch on it quickly. Then one time I'm going to do a session like this on singleness. And we'll go deeper and give you guys opportunity to ask more questions on singleness. This is pretty much important. I can teach more further than that. Singleness. You see, before marriage happened, there has to be a period of singleness where two principles are developed: nourishing and cherishing. Nourishing and cherishing. So what is nourishment? To nourish means you are focusing on spiritual growth and personal growth. So in other words, you have to focus on your personal and spiritual growth. Because if you don't focus on your personal growth, no relationship will give it to you. No relationship will give it to you. I can't teach you how to pray. I can't force you to pray. And I can't teach you spirituality. You have to focus on that yourself. And I can tell you this, every married person will tell you later, I wish my wife learned how to pray. I wish my husband knew how to pray. So you gotta, nourishing also, you gotta focus on becoming somebody. Nourishing is about becoming somebody. Who are you? Because if you do not know yourself, you'll be lost in that relationship. Know yourself. Focus on becoming somebody. In nourishing also, you got to focus on being transformed in certain areas of your life. Oh, there are areas in our life that we need transformation in. Our egos, our bad habits, our anger, our selfishness. All of these areas need to be transformed. So you need to nourish yourself. Quickly, the last one, cherishing. What is involved in cherishing? Cherishing is now about loving self, adoring self, building self, treasuring self, focusing on self-esteem, confidence about you. You need to learn to love you. You need to learn to cherish you. You need to learn to accept you. Because every compliment in your relationship will make no value if you do not cherish your own self first. Because you're looking to be validated by your partner. Oh, how come he doesn't notice my clothes? How come he doesn't notice my hair? How come he doesn't the way No. You don't need compliment. When you understand how to cherish yourself, you just an added bonus. Honestly. So that way you feel content. The way you dress, you're not waiting. Oh, did he recognize my hair today? Did he recognize how I walk today? Did he recognize how much I spent money today on that? No, you don't need that. Because that's attention to yourself that you don't need. Because later you're always looking for someone to compliment you while you're not satisfied with yourself. So let me leave it there. We're going to have a singleness session, and we can go deeper and further on it. Who learned something today? Let's all stand up together.